Well, hello everyone, and good morning or afternoon or evening, whatever it is in your time. It is such a pleasure to have Marta Papa here with us today. Marta is from St. Louis or in St. Louis, just like I am, is an attorney and is a guru of all things mediation. And I think it's really important for anyone, whatever your role is in schools, in the community, with families, anything and everything, being familiar with what mediation is really, really important. So I'm going to start out with Marta. How do you get involved in mediation and mediation training, and then just kind of tell us what this whole mediation thing is?
Sure, I would love to. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I started out as a trial lawyer for United Airlines in Chicago, Illinois. And the longer I practiced there, the more I saw um, that when we sued somebody, I was in charge of all lawsuits with 4 other lawyers. And when we sued somebody because they broke a contract with us, my boss's intention, who came from the White House, three administrations with the White House, so I have to think of his background was with well, wars, let's just put it that way. The Cold War was to crush the enemy, crush the enemy, crush the enemy. And so somebody would be late, Shell Oil, Standard Oil would be late getting jet fuel to us in Chicago. So we couldn't get the planes to push back on time. And that was $1,000 fine by the FAA if you didn't leave the gate on time, and we get fined. And so we'd sue Standard Oil. And it was to crush the enemy. Well, when you try and crush the enemy, and find them and trying to hurt them in court, they don't want to do business with you anymore. Now you don't get jet fuel anymore. And there were only 3 jet fuel pipelines coming into O'Hare at that time. So when we made all 3 of them mad at us, we couldn't get a plane in the air. And so as a brilliant 27, 28-year-old lawyer with no experience, I thought there's got to be a better way to do this. There's just got to be. So I started taking continuing legal education classes around Chicago, and I stumbled on mediation, which is a complete paradigm shift in resolving disputes. Most people and our legal system is based on when you need to resolve a dispute, you annihilate the enemy. It's you take a position, they take a position, and you fight to the court as to who's right and who's wrong. And the judge will say, you're right, you're wrong person, pay a fine to the right person and pay all their attorney's fees and don't do it again, right? But then that person doesn't want to do business with you again, and you need their jet fuel. So how do you have a lawsuit or try and enforce some kind of an agreement with someone without crushing the enemy so that they never want to deal with you again? And that's what I learned through mediation. Mediation is called interest-based negotiation instead of positional negotiation. What I've discovered is mental health professionals don't, when they're working with a couple or a parent-child relationship or a next-door neighbor relationship, they don't try and crush the enemy. They try and find out what the party's interests are. And then is there a way that we can come up with a plan that meets both parties' interests? That's what they learn in school. How do I know that? After I started mediating, I realized I wasn't very good at it because I was doing it like a lawyer. And so I went back and got a master's in marriage and family therapy from the Menninger Institute in Topeka, Kansas, which is now part of Baylor's School of Medicine. So it's still alive and kicking and doing what it should. So after that, the light bulbs went off. I really understood it, and I was much more successful and much more comfortable and had more tools to help 2 people that were in dispute come up with some type of resolution that resolved the dispute for both of them.
It's cemented a lot of things that maybe I thought about, put names to things that kind of you just do it and you didn't realize that's a mediation strategy. I think being able to use the example in telling couples regardless where they are in their relationship, if they're heading in, if they're in the middle, or if they're heading out, to really just understand that there doesn't need to be this perception of winner and loser, because people could spend a lot of money fighting over a pen. And I think that was your example. I mean, you could send your daughter to graduate school with the fees collected arguing about this pen, because it really isn't about the pen. And so there is some overlap, but it is really a good thing, so that we learn, a way of doing this. In therapy, there are things called cognitive distortions, negative thought patterns that everyone has. There's about 11 of them. And one of them is the idea of black or white. It's got to be this or it's got to be that, or I'm not doing it. And I think mediation helps to get past that binary thing that either I have to win or you have to win. And it's really sort of seeking a win-win, so everyone can leave, the table feeling really good about it. So, Marty, you did mention, I did the online mediation course. I think we were right in the heart of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it's been a few years now. So what is this course actually like? What kind of time commitment do people have? Is it in person? Is it virtual? Is it for anyone from Missouri, Illinois, all over the country? What kind of talk a little bit more about the course?
Sure. It's a 5-day course. It's 40 hours. I'm teaching this one virtually, live virtual. People who are good candidates to take this course are mental health professionals who have a master's degree. So if you want to get court appointments, or you want attorneys to send marriage couples or divorcing couples to you, if that's kind of your bailiwick, you do a lot of marriage counseling or family counseling, even parent-child counseling, and you want referrals from the court, what the court's looking for is a mental health professional with a master's in some kind of mental health, and someone who takes this 40-hour course that I teach, that's approved by the Supreme Court of their state. In April 3rd through April 7th, that has been approved by Kansas, Illinois, and Missouri. But you can get approval after the fact, because we all teach the same thing in a 40-hour divorce mediation training. The class is $1,500. And you add that to your master's degree, and you are now prime bait. And we role play and we practice, and I show you videos of other mediators, so you don't have to be my clone. You can see that other personalities are just as good using these techniques. You need to be authentic to your own personality. You'll be the most successful if you are.
For somebody who might be interested in this or is thinking about it, who may be like, there's a lot of information here, different books, different strategies, and somebody walking in the door who didn't even know what the word mediation meant before starting, versus someone who maybe has participated this, is the sandbox big enough for people who really don't know very much, some in the middle, some who already have some things, and that would all of these audiences really get a benefit out of coming to this mediation training?
Great question. So glad you asked that question. The sandbox is bigger than the ocean. The sandbox is huge. You get to decide as a mediator what kind of disputes you want to mediate. You can mediate just civil disputes. That's between two people that don't really have a relationship, that there's a contract breach or an intelligence breach, a breach of confidentiality or privacy. Or you can say, no, I don't really like that. I want to get in there with the emotions and help families learn how to live in the same zip code without killing each other and having orders of protection. Or you can say, I just want to work with kids using this, helping those kids, being a guardian ad litem, helping those kids figure out how to handle mom and dad who are getting divorced. Because they need encouragement too. They need some of these ideas too, and they use them against mom and dad. So in a good way, they use them to help mom and dad, not put them in the middle of the mom and dad fight. So it helps them build boundaries. So the fact that the legal system is recognizing it, ordering it, mandating the length of time you have to spend in mediation, accepting anything that the mediator sends in. It's never been this big. I started mediating about 30 years ago, a little over that. I did not think I would see this in my lifetime. I thought it would be a next generation, that I was on the prairie going across in the wagon to the west looking for a gold rush, right? I thought I was on the beginning trailblazer track, and I really didn't think it would come to this big of a fruition in my lifetime.
In wrapping things up, Marta, if somebody's interested, which I can't imagine how anyone in this field wouldn't be interested at this point to sign up, where can people get more information about this? Where can they sign up? Phone number, web, all of that nice
Yeah.
stuff.
So you can call me and my law office that's here in St. Louis. It's 314-862-0202. You can also email me, and if you just want information about training, keep thinking training, a place where you can contact me and get more information about training is training at the @ considering divorce. That's my tagline: considering divorce, consider mediation, right? So training at consideringdivorce.com, and we'll respond back to you. I also wrote a book on mediation called 7 Secrets from the Divorce Whisperer. That has a story on how I got coined the Divorce Whisperer. But if you contact the office and you want to know more about mediation, we'll send you to more places, and I'll pay the shipping. I'll send you a book of 7 Secrets from the Divorce Whisperer, how to get divorced without losing all of your money, your children, and your time to lawyers. So I'll throw that in. You can look at my website, which is consideringdivorce.com. And that's a website that tells about law, but it also talks, there's a button at the top for mediation. So you can click on that button for mediation. And I hope to heck that we have this mediation training on there. If not, I'll make my web person do it today. But that has all my contact information too. So we're doing an early bird special right now that's good through February 21st. It's usually $2,000 for this class, but if you sign up by February 21st, it's $1,500. And if you get somebody else to sign up with you, you get $100 back. I write you a check for $100 back for bringing somebody else along with you.
It's awesome. Well, I hope everybody out there signs up for this course. I still use many things that I learned in that. I obviously also rely on Marta as a friend and as a colleague and as an expert in this when I ever face a hiccup. So I hope everyone does, and I would love to hear feedback after you take the course, and maybe people can come on here and share their experience and how they're applying it. So Marta, thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm so excited.